Hey, my name is Van der Pugert and I'm a Senior Success Architect here at MURAL. Now, I don't know if you've had the same experience as me. The last 3 years, we dove into virtual collaboration. Now we're moving into a world of hybrid collaboration and teamwork. And one of the things that have annoyed me for a while is the fact that our collaboration tools, the things that we rely on to get stuff done, doesn't really play well together. Now, I've got a bit of good news for you. Now, before I do that, I just want to illustrate this scenario that might be familiar. You're in a Teams call, you're sharing a mural in the browser, you've got your screen share running, you've got people invited into the canvas, and inevitably, there's someone in the call that gets confused. Can't blame them. Am I looking at the screen share? Am I working in the canvas? Where do I need to go? Now, today I've got some good news. That's a thing of the past, because with our new integration with Microsoft Teams, we bring Mural straight into your Microsoft Teams environment. We go where you want to collaborate. So furthermore, I'm going to share with you how do you add the Mural app to Microsoft Teams, how do you use it within Microsoft Teams, and then also I'm going to do a quick demo of how you add a canvas in a video call. So stick around. Okay, here we are inside the instance of Microsoft Teams running on my desktop. Now you'll notice that there isn't any Mural magic happening here just yet. So let's remedy that. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that if you're watching this video, there's a very good chance that your IT administrator has indeed enabled access to the Mural Microsoft Teams application within your organization. However, it still requires you to do a little bit of technical geekery. So let's get that done quickly. So the bottom left here, you'll see access to the Microsoft Teams App Store. You double click on that. And I know Mural Teams app sitting right here, but in your case, you might see something different. I encourage you to go to the search bar and then search for Mural. It should pop up. Now, if it doesn't pop up here, and this is a good test to run, it means that you don't have access to the Mural Microsoft Teams application just yet because of the security group that you're in, or your IT administrator might not have enabled it within the organization just yet. The easiest thing to do is to reach out to your team leader or maybe the Mural champion that you have internally, or to the IT administrator directly to ask them to give you access or to activate the application within your organization. Once that is done, come back and then hit the Mural icon here and then have a look at all the awesome things here. But actually what you want to do is just get going and hit the add button here. Now, a couple of things are going to happen after I've done that. You'll get a notification chat that the app's been installed. You'll see that I now have a new tab, indeed Mural, sitting right there, loading up. Now, other thing I want to point out is that for me, it's loading instantly because I've loaded Mural in here as it should be a couple of times. When you do it the first time, Microsoft Teams is going to ask you to allow permissions. You can do that with confidence because the app has been vetted by your IT administrator. You can allow all the permissions as required. And then also the second step might require you to log into Mural within the organization. You just use your Mural enterprise credentials and log into Mural, and then you should see something like this. Hopefully you'll have a little bit more canvases sitting around than I have here in the demo. Now, just to point out that I have access to all the workspaces I have access to, and then also you can flip between the rooms. This means that you can get access to all the canvases that you've worked on before. I created this demo Mural, and I want to quickly show you that indeed everything works 100% perfectly here in Microsoft Teams. I'm loading up the canvas, and once that is done, I'll point out that all your facilitator superpowers are there, all the usual suspects. You've got all your tools sitting here in this left-hand bar, and indeed you can go crazy and use all the sticky notes you want. There is no limit to how many sticky notes you want to use. And jokes aside though, this is really great because now you don't have to load up any browsers, or you can just work here in Microsoft Teams. But that's not really the power and the reason we did this. The fact is that Mural is more powerful when you collaborate with others. This is why it's also integrated within the rest of Microsoft Teams. The first area that I want to point out is that it's indeed integrated in the chat. So if you go into a chat and start a new chat, you'll see, and you should see, a little Mural icon pop up here. This means when you hit that, it will ask you to actually tell them which canvas you want to add to the chat. I'm just going to take my demo. It's the only one I have, and I add it to the chat. And now whoever's in the chat can now start collaborating with me around this Mural. Further, and one of the ones that I'm excited about, is the fact that you can also add a Mural to a meeting. This is especially useful if you have a recurring meeting, for example. The one catch here is that you have to create the meeting first, come back, and then edit the meeting. Hit the little plus button at the top there, select the Mural app, add it to the meeting if needed. Sometimes you might be able to skip this step. You only do that once. And here again, you can see that I can add my little demo mural to this meeting. It will load up, and then once you go into meeting, folks in the meeting will have access to this mural. I'm going to close that. The other thing I want to point out, a little secret tip: if you're a muralista like me, you want to right click on that app and you want to pin it into the tab there, because if you work in Mural like me all the time, you want it right there in the bar. The next collaboration feature I want to point out is here in the Teams tab. Now, in your organization, you might have these aligned according to your team, to your department, to specific projects, but you can also add murals into these areas. The easiest way to do that is go to the top tab. You'll see a little plus button there. You hit that, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to ask you which app you want to add. You will do the usual and then select Mural. And then my available canvases will load up in workspaces, so you can flip around and go find the specific canvas that you want to add to this workspace. Double click on that, hit save, and you'll see that there's a new tab opened up in the team space where this mural will load up, and then allow everybody who's got access to Mural to gain access to all the functionality and collaborate with you within this tab. Now, this is pretty straightforward, easy to do, super useful, especially if you want to avoid going into a browser and jumping around. But one of the areas that people use the integration a lot is actually in a Microsoft Teams video call. So let me quickly show you how you go through that process. Okay, great. So here we are in the Microsoft Teams video app. Now, the first thing I want to point out before you start trying to share canvases is that this works if you're the originator of the call. So you're the owner of the call. When you get a video call from someone else from a different organization with different settings, you might have trouble activating the application inside the video call. Just check that with the folks before you run a workshop. Now, the first thing you want to do is probably head on over to the share button, hit share and start sharing, and you'll notice that that's not going to work. Trust me, I also fell for that trick. The way that you share a canvas within a video call is a little bit different. You need to think about the context of an application. You have to go into the More button, add an application, and of course, guess what you're going to add? You're going to add Mural. You need to tell the call which canvas you want to actually add to the video call. Now, I have my little demo mural set up, but once again, you can go and surf through all the workspace and rooms that are available to you. Find the mural you want to add, and then select that and hit the Save button. Now, keep in mind that when you've hit the Save button, it doesn't mean that this is now shared with everybody in the call. No, all you've done is you've taken that canvas and you've put it into your back pocket. So as the facilitator of the call, you can now decide when you want to share this. I just also want to point out, because sometimes you just pop it into your back pocket, you close that down, and then you start working, go, I want to share the canvas. You just go back. That instance of that canvas is sitting right there. You click on that, and that little bar will open up again. To share it into the call, to get collaborators to join the canvas, you just hit the share button there. I will minimize, and then the canvas will load up in the viewing port. It might take a second or two, and there is the canvas once again. You'll see that I have all my tools here available to me, and so everybody in the call. Also, of course, one thing to keep in mind, if someone is in a video call with you and they don't have access to Mural, or they have specific parameters within their organization that might block them or have them to join a Mural in a certain way, those rules still stand true. So you need to just test with folks and make sure that they indeed have access to Mural. Now, once you've finished your work, your collaboration, perhaps you want to get your real estate back, you just hit the Stop Presenting button, and then it will minimize. One thing you'll notice though, even if I close this, is that you still have this mural available. So if you want to reshare it again, you just click on the button and then hit that little share button there, and it'll go back into share mode. What's cool about this though is that you can actually add another instance of the Mural app, so you can have several of these canvases sitting in the top, and you can decide which ones you want to share. And then at the end, if you've done your work and you want to get rid of a canvas, you can just go there and say remove. But this is optional. You don't have to do that. So that is how easy this is. And I just encourage you to install the applications, play around, facilitate some workshops and some meetings with your colleagues using the Mural integration, and really drives up collaboration and getting folks going and not confused about where things are happening with the screen share. So I hope you're excited about this integration as I am, and please reach out and tell us what you've been doing with our application.